Our daily opinion on sport, which you're entitled to.
Hi, I'm Shaun Bartlett and welcome to Top Bins. And my guest for this week is none other than the legendary Fabian McCarthy. Chiefs, Celtics, Sundowns, Bafana. Fabian, welcome. How are you doing?
Good morning, Madala.
Hey, yeah.
Let me just expose that name on.
You're exposing me already. We haven't even started.
Listen, I can't get used to saying Coach Shaun or Shaun anymore.
Yeah.
It's just the way of respect. You see, they call you Grootman in the studio.
Yeah.
So for me, Madala, they will explain. But you know what it means.
No, but explain, because I didn't know. I came from Europe and suddenly I get to Chiefs and then I was like, Madala, what does that mean?
Look, obviously, if you're older, if you've been there before us, you're a role model, you're a friend. Now we were in coaching. It's just respect.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Not in our colored language, because otherwise I'll
So
say,
Grootman is
I'll say Shaun, but we don't do it that.
Okay.
So that's why we say Madala, and it's stuck.
Yeah. So
It's not only with me. Most of the guys.
Yeah, I know.
In that Chiefs
It was
team.
it was quite strange actually to get used to that, to be honest. But yeah, I think it obviously is stuck. Even now with coaching, whenever somebody sees me, it's like, hey, Madala, what's happening? Even Kaizer Jr. is still Madala.
And you know what they're saying is, if you embrace the nicknames you get from people, that's gonna even give you another lengthy, or maybe just showing you that you well respected overall. Yeah.
So everybody assumes, obviously, you're from Joburg. Maybe you grew up in Elders or Bosman or, Westbury.
You know what? Even strange also, they think I'm from Cape Town.
Yeah.
The same thing, but I must say, proudly from Vryburg, born in the Northwest, small dorpie. But yeah, that's where home is. That's where my roots is.
Yeah. And siblings, you brother to how many?
3 brothers. I lost one that was just behind me. Obviously, we say the same birth date, month and the day.
Okay.
But then just 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
I think he lived for about 4 months.
Okay.
But then we lost him. And now the small one, the late one, Egan, which obviously you
played for
coach
me. Yeah.
at Arrows. So 3 brothers.
Yeah.
One is full time in Cape Town now. And then the eldest one is at home, and obviously Egan is a traffic cop now, and he's doing well.
So what made you get into football? Was it very popular in Vryburg or?
Look, this small Dorpies township is, that's the only sport you can play. And then I'm coming from a family on my mother's side who used to play hockey. My father was a goalkeeper, believe it or not. And also his family is sporting people. My uncle played. He's actually the one that actually showed me to say support Chiefs, not Pirates, because my father is a staunch Pirates supporter, or was. He's right now. Even my mother, but then they had no choice. They had to change.
Sure.
So now I don't know. Maybe my mother is a Chiefs out and out now.
Yeah, probably because also you have a son that plays at Chiefs, isn't it?
Both, not only.
Oh yeah, Austin is in
well,
development. And at what age did you feel like maybe soccer can be a career for me, or was it always the plan?
Look, I just played, club level. To be honest with you, we started a team called Anderlecht FC, not RSC because of the Belgium one. Was 3 years with most of my cousins. It was a family team from the uncle's teams. Yeah. And I hardly played up until a school tournament out in Kuruman. I think that time was standard 5 was high school. Yeah. It's not grades. I don't know. Yeah. Standard 5.
That's grade 7 now.
Yeah, I got selected to play in the senior schools team that Saturday. I got player of the tournament. Created most of the goals, scored some. Believe it or not, I used to be a midfielder before.
All right.
And then my uncle that were coaching us, luckily he was there watching the tournament. And the next day I started playing in the amateur team.
Yep.
I really made the decision, I think, when I was standard 8. Let me just grade 10. Where I had to choose between certain subjects. Maths, science. Otherwise you go to geography, history. You know, those where they say it's the donkeys. Let's go to that class. Spoke to a few of the teachers that was obviously coaching us and involved in that. And then the second term, I walked out of the maths and science class and I walked over to there where you need to sit history, geography, you know. Yeah. That's when I realized and said, look, I can make it. I want to play. And I just wanted to play to be seen on TV because I was watching games Saturday, Sunday. I think that time you were at Spurs.
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes obviously being a defender, and I can say this because you're quite comfortable with the ball at your feet. Probably during your days, it wasn't very, often you would find defenders, that comfortable. But now that you explain, obviously, being a midfielder, it does help and make you understand, obviously. I think everybody knows you were aggressive at times, but you didn't kick people like crazy.
Yeah, no, I was. And, the only red cards I got, I think, was against Pirates when I was at Celtics, if I could remember the last time, in the so-called Rodman's Cup. Because there was one player I really wanted to get rid of in that Pirates team was Rizuma. But
he was too fast for you.
Not even fast. The man was hard. Yeah. He would just stand up, dust himself off. Yeah. I get a red card. He walks away with 2 goals at the end of the day. So, I think, like you said, I started playing as a right wing. I started playing center midfield. So, for me to fall back at the back and adjust, I think it was maybe because of the vision to organize. And that was obviously making me, I'm not fast, but I used to say to Carlos Scott, you can be so fast, but I think faster than, my brain is faster than that time you put on a 100-meter clock. And so I settled in at the back and I just enjoyed it, and I even told my boys, listen, if you want to go for trials, there's hardly defenders or goalkeepers. Yeah. You're always going to find midfielders or strikers. And the easiest job to do is you need to stop the ball and then give it to others, not waiting for them to get it from. I mean, you've seen it over the years and stuff. So, but sometimes I feel like, why are they making my boys defenders? But
yes, even it's in your genes, you can't change it, can you?
I mean, you confusing some of your boys. They don't know where they must play
but that's the thing. Many people don't even know which position I started at. Everybody sees me as the striker that played for South Africa and Chiefs and England, Charlton. But I also started in the midfield. Yeah. That's why I'm a hard worker. And I always believe hard work beats talent. But the experience at Bloem Celtic, obviously, that was during the time when Bloem Celtic was at the top, The fans that they've got, did that prepare you in a way, for the future, like going to Chiefs or to Sundowns? Because I played also at Celtic, and those fans are passionate about their club.
Yeah, strange also, Madala, that of Celtics, my mother arranged trials for me.
Okay.
Remember back then, there was a fax machine. You could only phone office to office line during work hours. So my mother was very instrumental in organizing and setting up that trials. And for me, my school friends were studying in Bloem at Technikon, so to get accommodation also was that. So talking about Celtics, always getting goosebumps. Still missing the days. I mean, the time you came to Bloem Celtics, it was on a higher level. We used to stay at Molimela Hotel in Rocklands. We used to camp at some resort where if you fall in a 2-bedroom, they give you 100 rand mins, packet of 1 kg maize meal, 1 kg rice, something to make a salad. So if none of you can cook there, you buggered. You'll just have to eat takeaways for the whole thing. And that time they called us Masokolara, but I must say that is my football foundation. I mean, Bloem will always be. I'm praying and hoping they come back, which is not going to be the same, but people will slowly adjust and get back to this Marumo Siwelele also. It doesn't work. It's either Masokolara, Siwelele, Abu Blaue. They are still there. Yeah, that's why you see they're wearing the colors. Yeah,
But this is what you mentioned, obviously, how you started at Celtic. Everybody, see PSL games and they think, hey, the glamour life of football is It's not really like that, is it?
No, it's not. It's just that now that the game evolved, you know, players are getting what they deserve. So it's just that the question is, we are not really seeing what they put out on the field for us. You know, like one example, we used to drove from Bloem to Petersburg,
Sure.
you know, to play Real Rovers, a league game. Then you travel with a Zola Bat or a 16-seater, you know, with a trailer.
Yeah.
You get there, you stay in a hotel, next day you play, you back in again. You get a 60 rand for allowance on the road, you know, where the Kumbi stop, you must get food, you must get it. But we survived and we managed. The good thing of Celtics then, you know, when we play a home game, Sundays, Seiza Ramabudu. I'm not getting used to this Dr. Mulimela, you know, colorful seats.
No,
Seiza Ramabudu. If we win, Monday morning, we make a queue by the office, by the window. We know. Envelope.
Yeah.
That's how, you know, we get going. Sometimes, Ntate, may his soul rest in peace, he'll pay us on the 50th.
That's how long the month is.
The 20th of the next month, because you say when they pay him the check from the PSL and where he was working as a constructor, the money must lay 7 days for interest, then he can pay us. But you know how he managed it, how he sustained the club. It was amazing, man. And the spirit, and you know, we were just a good team. That's why I said my foundation was really, as much as it was tough, but it was strong. You know, they were still putting in the stones or what. Not only cement, it was proper steel put in the foundation. Hence, even when I had the opportunity to move to Joburg, I asked him to make a decision, because remember, he dealt with Chiefs, he dealt with Pirates, he dealt with Sundowns. And I said to him, look, whoever you feel comfortable with, obviously where you're going to get the most money. I left with a handshake, and every time when I go to Bloem, I'll go to his house.
Sure.
And Charlie will tell you, he will gladly invited me in, where unlike all the other players, the way they left was they were forcing their way out. And you know, when I came from Cyprus, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay with Celtics. But then he said, look, I have to sell you because we need to, you know, I didn't even take my 10%. I said, listen, I think you need it for the team as long as you let me leave the same way I came to Celtics. And you know what he said? He was asking at training, can this Busman run like David High? You know, I was slender, skinny, and he was asking the team manager, is this the boy you're talking about? He said, hey, I want to see how you run with David High. Because that Busman, I know he can run. You know, so that was just the old man. Very strict also.
Very straightforward.
Very respectful also and stuff, you know, and he fought for his players, especially up against the coaches, you know, that were there also. And all those will tell you that sometimes when he raised his voice and you see that gray hair when he took his cap off. But that was my journey.
So you had a great foundation in preparation for Sundowns and Chiefs going forward.
Like even when I left Chiefs, you know, I could easily adjust or adapt to your Swallows, your Maritzburg, your Mpumalanga Black Aces, because I came from Celtics. And
exactly.
Like I said, it was just to go back and adjust again. But very good foundation, Madala. And hence I can proudly still speak about Celtics today. Proudly of them, and you know, get those goosebumps and things. I mean, the time you were there when I wanted to rejoin them, you were staying in a estate. You know, you guys were training at the
university team.
At the university's top, the grounds.
CUT,
We used to train in Grootflame. Or now and then you must train in Tabanshu, or you hear, hey, training is not here today, it's there. You take your training kit home, you wash it. You know. That is it. The only thing I regret is I tried to study at Boston Business College. I think the old man will forgive me. But after time for exams, Celtics never paid the bill, so I had to stop. You know, unfortunately, that's the only thing I regret. But other than that, I mean, I think I started with 500 or 1,000 rand then. You know.
I was on 500 myself, and you talk about the envelope.
And that was when, Matala?
It was in the early 90s. So again, you know, and even some of these owners, they used to pay you with the gate takings. Remember after the game, they would have the out of the boot, open the bag, gate takings.
That was our bonus at Celtics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you knew exactly how much you might get, because also you could count. You would almost like stand in the field and then it's like count the fans, because then you know how much you're gonna get at the end of the game if you win this game. And when you talk about even the quantums, I played at Spurs, and we used to come to Joburg. We used to get quantums from Shoe City. There was no seats in the van. So you would put like almost mattresses.
Panel van,
Yeah, it's a panel van. They put mattress on the floor, and you would drive in that thing to Woodbank Aces. We would change under the bridge. Get into your kit. We get to the stadium 3 o'clock. The game is 3:15. There's not even a warm up. You just walk onto the field. But those were the days, and now, obviously we've got sports science. You've got biokinetics.
Listen, remember, you will have a pre-match meal at 1:30. It's chips, it's bread, you eat everything.
Anything that you get.
Yeah, now you can't do it anymore. But yeah,
but that's even something I used to say to my players. Why must I give you pasta and chicken if you eat the whole week KFC? Does one meal is going to make a difference in you winning?
It won't.
So and what I'm trying to say is, like, footballers need to have a certain lifestyle, in order to perform at the elite level. I don't think even in the current day and age that our footballers live the lifestyle that they're supposed to in order to perform on the field.
You're so correct, because you look at it, most of us, we will train twice, maybe 2 days in a week twice, where the team provides you with a lunch or something.
Yeah.
And you have seen how many guys really stay or eating right. And that is a key role of your performance or your longevity in the game. If you eat well, if you rest well, obviously it will show on the field of play. And like I said, I can't go to gym with anybody else and want to train the way he trains.
Yeah.
I need to go to gym knowing
yourself.
what I'm going to do or what I need, where do I need to strengthen. I mean, Ashwin, he killed me in the gym. But
was that Ashwin Willemse, the rugby player?
I was.
You trained with him?
I trained with him.
That's the first mistake. You can't train with rugby players.
Cresta, but you know what? The man was coming from an injury.
Yeah.
So I was like motivating him. But when he put the weights, I must say, hey, boss, not for me. I'm listening to my body, Madala. So like you said, so now I'm trying to even install it to my kids. You some teams are working on it where they give players breakfast now. They give them lunch. But the thing is, for players to do it when they are at home. I remember Quentin said to me, like Fergie would send the menu to the wives. That time, if you were not married, you would make sure you get married within 5 months so that you eat right, you sleep, get enough rest, you'll always at home, not all over the place, But I think it's also culturally, but I believe the clubs has what it takes to do it. Have a full-time kitchen. If you come in the morning, you leave 5, 6 at night, because I mean that's what they do in Europe. Well, and you can see it with players like yourself when you come back. You still play long. You still want to compete. I mean, the late Shoes Mushwell was just
into his 40s.
But always want to be in front. Always want to be an example, because it's a lifestyle. That's why if we can do that, team owners are complaining about sponsors and money and all that, but if they do it right, some academies are really doing it, and it's working. You can see it. Even if your child say to you, "No, I don't want to eat this anymore. I'm eating this," and you know to say, "Okay, they're giving them the right food. They're doing it." But imagine if all the academies or clubs do that, how our football is going to be back in the top 5 on the continent.
That's an unfortunate thing, in my opinion, because I think a lot of the clubs, they think it's train, play, win. They don't see the other elements that's involved. I think of late also that's been becoming very important is the mental state of players. Psychologically, are you strong enough in order to go and compete? I always, as a coach, used to treat the players as people. I think that's the important thing. Players come from home. They might have had an argument with the wife or the girlfriend, or something's happened, and now suddenly you're asking that player to go and train, not being 100% focused. How do you deal with your kids from that perspective? Obviously, you've got 2 boys, and one is now currently in the Chan team.
Yeah.
Aiden.
Just got the call up last week. played a few minutes in Bloem, but not at the stadium in the location.
Yeah.
He played and he almost scored, the 10 minutes he got on. So I said to him, look, you just have to take this opportunity, even if you get 5 minutes, but when you go up for corner kick or so, at least make it count or be more aggressive and stuff like that. And I think what he's been going through the past 2 years, I must say he's really strong. He's doing the right things. And I also reached out and I got him a psychologist. He's got a personal trainer, and he's doing boxing on the one side. So I just allow him to get all these advice or things from different people. And I told even like some of you guys, I always said, guys, when you have time or when you meet him, just chat to him. I just want to be the father.
Sure.
I just want to protect him and guide him. At the end of the day, he had to make the decisions. I said to him, it's your happiness. I don't want you to make me happy.
You just support them.
You suffer. It's not different to you. Your boys are also playing, so we kind of more in the same boat.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy when your kids go in the same industry where the father was, became a legend.
And from our wives or so, it's always the question: why don't you do something else? Why don't you do it? Why don't you? But we can't take it away from them. They love the game. We just have to make sure that the game doesn't hurt them the way they hurt us. Or
I think that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, they get treated the same way we got treated then, starting with 500. I think I started with 750. Now that is change for them.
And Austin playing under 15 at the moment at Chiefs?
He's playing under 14.
14.
He was there last year under 13, so now they changed GDL to
they
under
changed.
14.
Okay.
So it's going to be another challenging year for him because he really looked forward to maybe be the captain this year, play in the same age group. But you can see the boys are bigger, the boys are more physical, strong. They played against SuperSport the past weekend. They played 3-3. First 5-10 minutes, I told my wife, I said, I don't think he's going to play today, so just come, cool. But he's happy. He's learning. If I take him out, where am I going to take him to?
Sure.
Because he's happy to be there.
Yeah.
So he must just observe it and work hard and understand. At least school's football is there where he's enjoying it. He's a captain. He's just getting playtime. But it's also the mentality. He understands that not everybody must play. And other boys have an advantage. It's either the physicality or the body size and speed and stuff like that. But I'm saying as long as they're happy, I'll be happy.
I think sometimes that is a problem, isn't it? Like a lot of the younger generations, they don't want to, like they say, trust the process. If I make the team, I want to play now. I remember making Bafana and I almost had to wait 18 months before I could play because it was Brendan Augustine, it was Daniel Maddow, it was Phil Masinga, it was Mark Williams. There were so many players ahead of me. I just had to sit on the bench and wait. But the biggest question I want to ask you here is, where does your boys get a left foot? Because you're right-footed. you just use that left foot to stand on. Both your boys are left-footed. What is happening there?
Osti is right-footed. Actually, is my mother's one brother.
Oh, okay.
Left-footed, very tall. So some of her cousins in Freiburg, they call Aiden, refer to him as an uncle. Even my one uncle that coached me, he said Aiden reminds him of that uncle that played at a very powerful left foot, tall, strong. So that's where he got it from. Madala used to pass you with a left foot.
But you couldn't hit 40-meter drives.
That's Coco on my bed,
So post-football, obviously, I see you've gone into coaching as well, getting your CAF licenses. What is the vision, the aspiration to coaching? Where do you want to end up?
I would love to coach in the PSL. At the moment where I'm seeing myself, development coaching, I really don't have that patience.
Okay.
And that, how can I say? It's not a technique or so. You know that when you get to school, you get the primary school teacher, you get the high school teacher. You know that what you have for the kids. I think maybe Dusky Challenge, Matsepe Foundation Championship, assistant in the PSL, but I would really love to coach in the PSL, being it assistant or specialize as working with defenders, because I think that is my specialty. That is where I can really sit down, work it out or so, because I've played with different type of defenders. I've seen what mistakes they've been doing. And now when I analyze on SuperSport, I'm not looking at the game as an analyst. I'm looking at it from a coaching point of view, taking coaching points, check where the mistake started, where it ends, and how you can then plan a session around it to fix those problems. And I always say to them, guys, when you defend, what are you defending? You're defending the goalpost, not the corner flag or whatever, the goalpost. So once your positioning is right, then, I mean, half of your job is done, you know.
It's just nicely, you set me up nicely there, because I was going to go into that, obviously being an analyst at SuperSport. And I believe strongly, once you have coaching qualifications, it does help you, assist you, because you can read the game better, you can analyze it better, you can give your opinion from a player perspective and also a coaching perspective. So it does help you a lot in giving those analysis, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really helps you. Even if you go for these courses where you want to become an administrator, you know, a sporting director or a team manager, it helps you, because in that there is a module where each talks about the players on the field, how you prepare. I mean, we have been through different type of coaches, you know, managers, teams, where you see the different in terms of organization, the setup, how you prepare, how you plan, how you go and do it. For me, it really does help. And then, I mean, today you can't talk about man on man again.
No.
You know, you must talk about how you gonna, the position, you know.
It becomes almost like a chess game, isn't it?
Yeah, they talk of low block, high block, and I'm saying I don't believe in formations, because where the ball is and how you react, that gives you then the thing to say, how do you plan and what do you do when you get the ball. This of 3-4-3, 4-2-2, 4-5. No, some coaches just confusing the players. You know, that's why I'm saying I will watch a game and then I can decide what formation is coached to. You know, some coaches, they change after every maybe 15-20 minutes, but then you must have that type of players where you can move around. You say like chess, you know, the king can move forward and back. Then, but if you don't have the players and you want to adopt a formation somebody else is using, I think that's where most of our coaches are losing the plot.
They see what other coaches are doing. And
exactly. Even if you send me a training program or so to say, this is when I prepare my team against, you know, Sundowns, where you know offensively, you don't know who's going to come, how they're going to come, where they're going to come from. Now I want to go play the same when I play Magezi. You're losing already. You know?
So we've spoken about the clubs, but I think the one thing for me that stands out is got to be Sydney 2000. What experience that was, obviously. Were you still called that time Amagluglug?
Yeah, very, very much so. Strong. I think Sassel was just coming with some different diesel, petrol, paraffin, and everything. And, you know, a month ago we were doing a recording because it's 25 years now. Cecil is celebrating and we want to do a benefit year or program. You know, we're still talking to them, myself, Matthew, Stiga, Brian. We played golf at Eagle Canyon and we record something. And, you know,
so the golf bug has bitten you, huh?
Look, but I don't have a handicap yet, Matana. So what we're trying to do is bring the guys together. Some of our guys are not in a good space. You know, like your Patrick Mbutu, our two coaches, Coach Shakes and Coach Kenny Ndlazi, are health-wise also. You know, they have a challenge. Coach Kenny was diagnosed with cancer last year. So we want to do something with Cecil and say, take us back to our slaughterhouse. Take us back to Vosloorus. Take us back where we united the nation. I mean, you guys did it in 96. We did it in 2000, but I think better planning, better preparations. You know, I think we thought we beat Brazil. We will win the group. We will go through the next game. We drew. We got knocked out, but I mean, guys end up at Manchester United. Quinton, Benny went to Ajax. Aaron Mokwena to Ajax. Delron, Germany. I told to Stiga even the other day when they were playing that game, I said, hey, sometimes I think we were born in the wrong country, but, nonetheless, because most of those guys from that Brazilian team,
they
became
moved to
superstars.
Europe.
I mean, Ronaldinho, who believed that, he couldn't score against us. Although I got a yellow card for kicking him, but Emil saved the free kick. So, very special, Madala. I think that was the highlight of my soccer career. Just playing in the Olympics and representing, the country. Because, look, I never made it to a AFCON squad or a World Cup squad. But I made it to these 4 nations and, some games. Remember when they beat us in the States? They called us 4x4.
Oh, the Gold Cup.
Yeah, with Pierre Issa and all the guys. Yeah. So, that's the highlight for me. And I must say, I think the country failed with the continuity of that team. Because from that team, it was only Matthew and Aaron, Delron, Quinton, and Benny. And Bele that went on to feature regularly with Bafana. Some of us, we were just playing these other games. So I'm thinking also where Baba Hausa is sometimes Brasheks, because not long after that he was in charge of Bafana. Would have taken the core of the team because he came with Stiga and them from I think under 17, under 20 World Cup in France was that, and then I joined the team when they were already under 23 stages or so. But that for me is still one team. I believe that we never had real superstars, but we had players that did the job on the field of play. When we come together, we forget about everything, forget about ourselves. We just put the country first and whoever we represent at that time. Even going to the Olympics, we had an argument about, salary, what they're going to pay us. Either you sign or you don't. And then we decided to say, look, whatever the budget is, let them give us. But we're going there to represent, the country, our families and ourselves. And for me, actually, I terminated my contract in Cyprus just to go to the Olympics. Because it was that where it's either you join the team late when they're in Australia, and then from SAFA side they said, no, you need to come to the 1 month camp where you go through all your tests and make sure you help.
Preparation,
I canceled my contract in Cyprus, Limassol. I was on loan there 6 months, and then I came. I don't regret it at all.
I want to end off obviously with I think an element or a factor that played a big part in our careers is family. How important is that? From growing up, obviously, in Freiburg to now being married with 2 boys, the family element, as far as the support is concerned, even when you do become a coach, believe me, that's still going to be one of the most important factors in order for you to be successful. What influence did it have on your career?
Very big, especially me coming from Freiburg, my uncles, everybody that played, but financially they never had that muscle to get me to places and stuff or buy me boots and that. And then I met one mentor in Klerksdorp. Obviously, financially, he would support me and that. But it's very key. Why I'm saying it's key? Because that is the people where when you're not on the field, you spend time with. That's the people where you take the frustrations to when you come from the club or your team. Hence I was saying, I'm not going to play in the 2nd division when I got relegated with Mpumalanga Black Aces. I said, I don't want to be frustrated going to work, bring that frustration back to my house, my happy home. My late father always used to say, listen, if you're happy in your workplace, you'll bring that happiness to your house. If you're happy at home, you'll take that happiness to your workplace. So he was leaving big jobs, where I can see he's building a school or so. But then he said to me, I can't bring that money home. I'm not happy. I'm sacrificing to be there. So that, what you say, Madala, I think is very key. And what most of our players also do, they're not family orientated. They're not thinking to say, let me have a stable home. Let me have one, solid partner that support me, that are there for me and walk this road with, because I mean, I've seen it. I mean, you've traveled. You take them with. It's half of your thing that are covered to say. When you come from training, there's somebody that you can speak to in your language. You can eat that type of food. So for me, was my eldest brother, Byron, that used to travel with me or come stay with me, just to know when you get home, there's somebody you can talk to, that you can relate to, or if you want to do something. But there's one thing I think I did. I always stayed with families. When I went to Bloem, I stayed with my friends in an apartment while I was on trial. But then after that, I stayed with the family in Hederdal. Just that rules to say you need to be home. You wake up, you're getting breakfast. Tonight when you go sleep, you're getting a cooked meal. Unlike when you're alone, you
But isn't that the area that Gaten McKenzie's from? Hederdal?
Look,
it sounds very familiar.
It is. I stayed with a family in Ashbury, and I stayed with a family in Opcoms.
Okay.
The reason being for me is to say that, look, I need to be home at a certain time. I'm not taking a key. I always report like, I'm going there, I'll come back late. Can I? Those rules. And I think that kept me in the slow lane, not in the fast lane where you just want to go 118, 120. So, even when I moved to Joburg, I stayed with Stiga and his mother. When he went to Switzerland, I stayed with his mother just to know that, I wake up in the morning, there's people, when I come back from training, I get the meal 6, 7 o'clock at night. I can't do my own things and that. So it really helps a lot, even if it's not your immediate family, but adopt and get the family. Every time when I go to Bloem, I make sure I go past and greet these people. My one teammate just supported Aiden on Sunday. I couldn't go. He took his family. He went to go watch the game.
That's great.
So that those are the things, you need to go. And now, even when we get offers now, you can't just make a decision.
No.
You need to know that if they're happy at home and they give you the blessing to go, then you will be successful. But if you go against their wishes, you know what I'm saying? It's amazing how important it is to have, obviously, a partner that understand, that support you, and are not competing with you. There's those that you see that, your partner want to be more in the limelight, more in front of you. So, and for me, it's not about this. This is just about you respect me, I respect you, we support each other, and we do it together. So it's very family is a play a huge role in my success, like your success over the years. And even like now what we're showing our boys is like we are together, we stick together. If something happened to one, we all go through it, with the boys being here, being there, get rejection here, rejection there. We can at least handle it. We can.
We've been through it
from both sides. We can advise them. They can advise them from the way we were behaving when we got this, and we can advise them to say when we got it there and then this is how we handle it. So I think it plays a huge role, and if most of our players also start to settle, man. I still said if I got married in 2010, obviously with the World Cup and all those things. But if I could have gotten married 5 years before, I think I could have still played 7 or 8 years longer, to say that,
all right.
You stay, you rest enough, you go there, you can't just get up and say, hey, we're going, I'm joining the guys in this place or that place. But those are things we did. But obviously now this generation, if you set them down and show them, you sacrifice 5 years, I believe for 15 years you will play. And you will get the benefits.
Of course.
Now this quick fix and quick here, quick, it's not working. It's either you're gonna be a LED or a normal globe, right? When it's load shedding, you want to switch it back on again, it's gone.
It's gone.
At least with the LED, the sun, solar,
lasts longer.
It lasts longer, Madala. So it's huge. And thanks, man. We're learning from you.
Thanks.
I'm here as your guest, but I just wanted to say to people out there,
Sure.
it's not just that we are teammates.
Yeah.
You know, we learn a lot from you, especially myself, on and off the field. I'm just hoping that you can make me your assistant one day. Then you know, we'll see how the
Everything happens in good times.
yeah, how the combination will work, because I believe that there's certain teammates that you met and you come along, but there's those brothers or so that you know you will go to war with, or you can at least offload some of the things, or you can at least share something which you can get an advice, or you know, some sort of plan to say this is how you try to solve it, or this is what you do, this is that. So you know, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I think even my family.
Sure.
I'm hoping that this year you will be available to go with me to Freiburg to go play and meet the rest of my family, because I think I know most of your family, and it's just that, you know, they need to be there for each other. You know, our two boys have a good relationship, although they don't see each other that often. So I'm hoping we can get a team next season, man. And we don't sit here and just talk football. People
we do it on the field.
People will come and talk. We'll just give the results on the field.
Okay, well, that sounds like a plan, doesn't it? And it's amazing, you know. You say so many things, you know, and I always have the saying: you don't realize the impact when something happens until it becomes a memory.
Yeah.
And then, like we've just spoken, you know, about your career and the family. It's good memories, there's bad memories, but at the end of the day, it's a memory.
Yeah.
You know, when it happened, it's like, oh, it just happened. And I think that's life.
Yeah.
So from my side is to wish you the best. Like you say, your wish is to be my assistant coach.
If you want, I don't know. Or if
things will happen.
Wherever you go, if they will allow and say, hey, don't bring
I need a
this one.
defenders coach, you know. And like you explained, I think I've always had this question: why is the goalkeeper the only position on the field that has a coach? Every team has got a goalkeeper coach.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. Because
some teams even have two.
Defenders, strikers, midfielders, every position is specialized. So you actually need people that played the game, that's qualified, and get them into your structure as to how to teach these players to handle positions. Like you mentioned as well, you don't need to be the fastest. But if you're clever enough, I always say to the players, I can do all the testing I want, how fast are you, how long you can run. But the distance between your ears is the most important. What you do with that
I'm saying
is vital.
The decision making when you have the ball or you
Yep.
don't have the ball, and how do you share the responsibility?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
that's it.
But thank you. We appreciate you coming on board for the show, and we will look forward to seeing you on the coaching field, whether it's with me or not. That's
Or against you.
ooh. Now we're going against as well.
Listen, I let me tell them. You know, that night I played against you at Athlone Stadium, you and George. That is a night they selected me for the under-23 team in Bafana.
Okay.
So George generally always remind me to say, listen, it's me and Shaun, we made you look good because we couldn't score. I think you were on loan at Spurs from the MLS team.
Yeah.
It was a Friday night at Athlone Stadium. I think we drew or something against Cape Town Spurs. 1998.
But do you know what's the funny story about that also? Who was Mitch the Abre? Or was it Shakes?
No, I think it was already Shakes. Yeah,
Shakes.
but Bani Kujani was in the stands.
Oh, Bani Kujani, team manager.
Yeah, I think I was at Celtics. It was myself, Is Gulwa, and Abraham Nteo, and then Kukame.
Okay.
Kukame.
So I made you look good.
I don't know, but I was just on another level that night. And you know, the only thing what I said to me is...
I forced you to go up another level.
No, I need to jump before you and George because you were good headers of the ball.
Yeah.
And once you get up there, for me to come, you guys will block me. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no.
I still owe you.
You still owe me. It's no problem. But I thank you for making the time to come on the show. And we look forward to next week. We will have a different host and maybe fight or talk about a different element of the game of football, because obviously it involves a lot of things, not just training, but there's nutrition, there's strength and conditioning, there's so many things, psychology, everything that's combined. And Fabian touched on also analyzing, which I believe a lot of players don't do enough, because you need to know, who am I coming up against, what's his strength, what's his weakness, and how I can exploit those weaknesses. So we look forward to next week. Thank you.
You need facts, figures, scores, and scoops, and the truth.